Hi, this is Eddie Deezen. You're listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall. I was Mandark in Dexter's Laboratory. Ha 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 ha.
You are listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall on Realm of the Mist Entertainment. Hey guys, welcome to Breaking the Fourth Wall. It's Christopher Stolle here with you once again, and I'll tell you what, right now I'm excited. I'm truly excited. I've got to admit, when I was a young lad, I got into my grandparents' Betamax collection. Yes, I said Betamax. And I discovered a movie called Meatballs. And during my young, impressionable mind watching that movie, I fell in love with a character. Total teenage crush. And today I get to fulfill that little boy's dream because I'm sitting here talking to Kristine Debell. Kristine, how you doing today?
That's such a cute story. Except, wait a minute, the Betamax part? What? Seriously, it came out.
My grandfather had a room that was filled with bootleg Betamax tapes. He had a bad habit of recording, like renting movies from most people would recognize Blockbuster, but it was called Earl's Video out here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And he had 2 VCRs, so that way he could record the movies and then return them. And
okay, right, exactly. Okay, I got it. Yeah, that's why they put on there, do not copy this or do not read. Yeah, whatever. That's awesome.
So
yeah, I'm like, Betamax, I don't even know if I know it. I do remember the word.
So yeah, I was worried about telling that story too because of like the way I said it's like my young impressionable mind discovered a Betamax and it's like and then admitting
it was great.
and then admitting like a childhood crush, it's like oh here we go. Yeah, but no, I'm thrilled to have you here, Kristine.
I must tell you, thank you, but I must tell you that happens a lot. I go to the horse races a lot, right? Because I raised my guys on a thoroughbred farm, love to ride, raised race horses. And so, I don't have the farm anymore, but I'm out here. My friend's involved with racing, so, we go to the track together. So she's in this racing thing, like a, racing club. Little Red Feather it's called.
Okay.
And so the guy who's the head of it, I've known him for years. But a week ago, maybe it was a few months ago now, but we're sitting there and it's only us. It's my friend, myself, and he. And so Mary says to me, did you ever tell him that you were like about Meatballs or about you or something about your movies? And he goes, what? And I said, yeah, I was in a couple of movies, I said Meatballs. And all of a sudden he freezes. It was like, he goes, oh my God, wait. He goes, oh my God, I think I'm breaking out into a sweat. He goes, it was like, I'm having a moment. He said, which character? And I said, A.L. He goes, oh my God. Yeah, so he had the biggest crush on me when he goes, you were my childhood crush. He goes, wait a minute, we've known each other for 2 years. You couldn't lead with that?
No, I could tell you I had 3 major crushes growing up, especially during the time where young boys become young men. And of course that was Carrie Fisher because I was a huge Star Wars fan.
Me too.
You, of course, as I stated from discovering Meatballs, and Samantha from Who's the Boss, because we were the same age. Alyssa Milano.
That's great. Oh, yeah, listen, yeah, okay. Wow, that's great.
Because we were the same age.
Too funny.
So she was the one that was most likely.
So great, yeah. Oh,
wow. Spoiler for people.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say spoiler. I was just going to say spoilers for people who may not know my personal life. No, I never hooked up with Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, no, Meatballs is just like, it's just like this little movie. It just has a huge. I did a signing a few years ago in New Jersey, Chiller, and people came dressed in character. Like, Morty, one guy told me that he became a counselor because of Meatballs.
Well, at least he didn't say it was because of Friday the 13th or something.
Yeah, true. That would have been bad.
It does raise one question, though. Now, it's something I've always wanted to ask the cast of the original Meatballs, and since you're the first person I ever got to speak to from the original Meatballs, I'll definitely ask you. They did do a sequel that was really different from the original movie. How did you guys feel about that? Like, did you see Meatballs too, and like, did you think?
No, it wasn't the same people. I mean, it was a totally different. It's my understanding. I never saw them. They were, but I never saw them. I don't know when did they come out. I was like too busy. I was just like, I don't know. What year did the second Meatballs come out?
Oh, I'm not sure, but I definitely know it was during the whole entire like ET craze. So I would say at least like 83, 84. Maybe.
Yeah,
and I just remember they brought it back where everybody goes to a camp, and stuff. Not the original characters, obviously, but then all of a sudden a space alien and his family come down to Earth to drop him off the summer camp so he can make friends. And the movie spent all the campers that know about this alien guy trying to hide him from the camp counselors.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound so hard, but wasn't the next one then? Was it sort of raunchy, a third, possibly? How did they get away with doing 2 and 3 when it absolutely... Are you allowed to do that? Just say, someone couldn't say, well, Star Wars is a huge franchise, but they just can't go out and make a Star Wars... How... I can't answer this question.
I wouldn't know. I would imagine the writers or the studio that produced it said it's okay, go ahead, but I don't really know.
Exactly. It could have been right. It could have been the same studio. They pitched, we're going to do a Meatballs 2, but we're going to do this, and they're like, oh wow, great idea. Yeah, Meatballs 3. Oh yeah, great idea. No, and no.
But I always wanted that because, like I said, number 2 and like you pointed out, number 3 were complete departures of the original. As far as like the feel of it, and like I didn't hate 2. I don't remember 3. That I guess that tells you how great that is. I didn't hate 2.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cute little kids movie, but that's what it felt like, a kids movie instead of what Meatballs was.
Right, a coming of age, really.
Right.
But different.
I'm sorry?
But different. Thinking of other coming-of-age films, it's a little different in that it was a comedy, because some coming-of-age films aren't exactly funny. I mean, they can be, but it's not, I don't know. But, yeah, you know what? If it's about an alien, I might have wanted to see Meatballs, too, then. I love aliens. Fantasy adventure, obviously huge Star Wars nut.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is I'm going through your Wikipedia page, your filmography, and I do notice that a lot of and you've been in a lot of different films. I notice a lot of them, at least from title alone, and I'm just looking at films. I'm not even going into like television yet. You've done a lot of dramas and comedies. Are those your normal choices?
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't say I made a choice. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I just auditioned. I auditioned for Raging Bull. I didn't get that part.
Right.
Kathy Moriarty did she win that? Yes, she did. Yeah. I mean, so I was just going on auditions. So, and I was lucky enough, or for whatever reason. I mean, I know that an interesting side story, which I may have told, but not to your listeners.
Right.
is that I auditioned for and won the part of the big brawl, the Jackie Chan, to play his girlfriend in his first American film, Raymond Chow. And I was someone was driving, and they were in an accident. It wasn't me driving, but I hit the windshield, and so I had a scar on my eyebrow, or a cut, and it had to heal. And they waited. I mean, it's like, what? I think back, and it just seems to me it's interesting. I didn't think I was that big of a star. I mean, they could have just recast the part and gotten somebody else.
That is awesome that they did that, though.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is really cool. Especially because, then again, thinking about it, if it's the crew that normally works with Jackie Chan, they're probably used to waiting for him to heal. Since that man does do his own stunts.
I never saw him fall. Yeah. I mean, he did, his hands may have been sore and chapped and, wearing the wraps and stuff, but the guy never falls. He's the most athletic person I think I've ever met.
Still is, from what I understand.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
Now, I'm laughing because now that I've worked my way down to television, one thing stuck out in my mind. So I've got to ask this because growing up again, it was one of my favorite TV shows. You were in Night Court.
Yeah.
1984, you played a character called Jennifer Black.
Black. Yeah, that was so fun. That was such a fun. No,
I've got to hear about this.
The thing, I mean, Harry was great, and, John Larroquette, I knew he was dating a friend of mine at the time, and but the cast was great. I had never seen the show, but here's what was different about it for me. Well, number one, I have a theater background doing TV anyway. It was kind of weird. But it was taped. There was a live taping on Friday night. So there was an audience. So you rehearse all week, and then they tape the show, but they tape it in front of an audience, so it's not that canned laughter. Or maybe that still gets added in. I'm not sure. But you know how they used to joke about they had canned laughter.
Right.
A lot of those that they added the laugh just in case you weren't going to do it, I guess.
Well, you bring.
Yeah, so.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. So the thing is this is what happened. Is that we rehearsed all week, and then we rehearsed the show Friday morning, and then we go to dinner, and we're going to go do the show live. And the writers came in and said, "Yeah, we don't really like the opening scene. Can you here's what we want you to do." So I had to spend my dinner relearning the entire opening scene. On the scene where the guy's interviewing me, right?
Right.
What was his name? I'm on the panel or whatever, and that's where we meet, with the scene where we meet in the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to, it's like, what? Yeah. Here, just, memorize this. We're going to change it. I'm like, okay. I mean, of course I did, but whatever. It just, thinking back, it's like, holy crap. Oh, yeah, let me relearn this. Something I've done the same for the entire week, and I'm going to change it up.
Well, you
I
bring
the soap helps with that.
You bring up an interesting point that a lot of my listeners who might be younger audience may not realize or understand is that a lot of TV back in the 80s and especially before the 80s was performed in front of a live studio audience. And even myself, like I've watched TV shows like that, but I've always wondered, and I know I've seen like outtakes of, like, say, for the sake of argument, Home Improvement, where they would do the live studio audience, but they always showed bloopers and outtakes of screwing up lines and everything, and everybody had to reset, and the audience had to act like the joke was, fresh like it was the first time and all. Did they do that with Night Court or any of the live performance shows that you were on, or was it literally one take?
No. No. That was the first. That was the first live one that I had ever done. Okay. And I never did another one after. So that was the first. That's what I mean. It was like crazy. It's like, wait a minute, there's an audience? What? And I'm doing this for an audience? And it's like, if it's just a camera, you're not quite so nervous. But if there are actually people, it's like, oh my God, I've got to go bite my nails. No, I'm teasing. I don't bite my nails. But yeah, there are shows, and I know I've heard of shows, right? Like you have. Oh, they were taped in front of a live audience. I never saw Home Improvement, so I didn't know about that. But it was my first experience doing something in front of a live I mean, not my first experience, obviously. As I said, I did theater, so it wasn't, but you know what I mean.
Right.
I'll remember the first time I did a TV show. It was, yeah, it's like just understanding the difference between being on stage and having to learn to make that transition to television. Then when I went back to the theater, the guy said, you know, you're upstaging yourself. I said, just move the damn camera. No.
Well,
just move the damn camera.
I definitely got to dive into the theater thing, 'cause that's something I did not know about you. That you do have a theater background, and you know, truth be told, a lot of actors, you know, that I know have theater background or came from a theater background,
Right.
that I've ever watched interviews and all that for, they actually prefer the theater to movies and television. Would you say you're about the same, or there's no difference, or it's complete different experience?
No. It's a completely different experience. But I couldn't say that I liked one or the other more. I mean, it was just so interesting coming from. I did summer stock. You know, I was a singer. Okay, I've told this story. I'm sorry. I was a singer. I studied voice for years in high school, and I got a part in ninth grade, and you know, they were doing the Sound of Music. So I was, you know, one of the little girls, Marta.
Okay.
And that year, this summer stock theater, which is actually very well known in upstate New York now, came to my hometown. And so their last performance was the Sound of Music. So my mother takes me down there, and you know, I sang, and they're like, "Wow, your voice is way too mature to play a young girl." But you know, you can be the naughty posture. But looking back, I'm sure, you know, I ended up having small parts in. And then I spent the next 4 years of high school doing summer stock theater. But it was theater in the round, right?
Right.
It was a round stage with entrances all around. So hence why can't you just move the camera? Because then on stage, it's like I wasn't, you know, I had done summer theater in the round. So then you go onto a stage, and there is, you know, stage right, stage left. And I'm like, okay. And then there's upstaging yourself. It's like, so that in a sense was relearning. Because that was, you know, I had gone from doing theater in the round to television, which is and film, and the difference there I would say is it's almost, you're introverted in a way. It's so different in that theater. You have to project, and you're this very big character, and film and television, you're very small. It's like everything is in an eyebrow or a look or it's just not it's very different.
I've you know what I've interviewed a nice guest who has a background in stand-up comedy, and when her and I were having our interview and having a little back and forth banter, she had stated that she thought that I should try an open mic night in stand-up comedy, and I told her, you know what, I've done pro wrestling, I was a musician, but for some reason standing up on a stage by myself with just a microphone, I would probably freeze. And I got to be honest, sitting there thinking about it, I don't know if I could do theater either.
Dude, me too. I want to do stand-up comedy now. People think I'm so funny. But it's like, and I even wrote a comedy routine, but it's like I can't imagine, it's so scary standing up there. And then this kid that I know that was, you know, I would see with the comedy store, I told me, he says, well, I can be your writer. I said, I don't need a writer. I have this stuff. It's just like, science. And then Mrs. Maisel got me started. It's like, well, she's standing up and just talking about, you know, changing friggin' diapers. No, I'm just teasing. But, no, but the thing is that what he said is like, it's like being an actor in that you memorize your routine, but still, it's the scariest thing.
Well, I mean,
people think
the memorization's why I'm scared of like the stage, you know, like theater or something. Because you know, when I was a kid, my mother always said I would probably wind up in acting because I memorize every movie I watch, you know, line for line. But you know, I never thought of myself being an actor, but I mean, I have the ability to play off of other people for my comedy. So I imagine if I learned a routine, I would be fine with it, but I think I would freeze up the first time a joke didn't land.
Yeah. No, I get it. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, everybody fails. You go to an open mic night, you do your jokes. And I'm thinking, mine aren't really jokes. It's like telling stories of, you know, from kids or this, or like driving it right now. It's like, you know, anyway. So Yeah, no, I totally get it. I'll never do it probably.
Well, that
like, oh, come on, you're so. Oh, but wait a minute. No, so a friend of mine said I went to see this. I'm not going to say who, but I went to see this actress do some stand up, and I was like, wow, she's not that funny. And then a friend of mine who also knows her said, but she's so funny in person. I'm like, oh, my God, there you go. That's why I shouldn't be doing it, because people think I'm funny. So thereby, I won't be funny if I do stand-up.
That makes sense to me. But the lead up to it was with the on-stage performances, and it kind of plays into what I was talking about when you did the live studio audience with Night Court, and asking if they were one take or if they would, like, if a flub happened or whatever, be like, cut, okay, reset, do it again. With stage, you don't have that luxury. How did you prepare yourself to go out on stage to perform whatever it is, whether you were singing or delivering?
Oh, dude, thankfully, I had spent a year on a soap opera where you had to memorize 11 pages of dialogue a night. And memorization is like a muscle, I think, when you start to use it. And maybe I should start working on that muscle again. No, I'm just teasing. But it's just short-term memory. You know what I mean? No. So anyway, so I was on the soap for almost a year, and that was it. And I cried all the time. Well, that's not what you were asking. So thereby, I did a play. I did. I played Blanche Dubois in Streetcar, and so talk about wordy. So I don't know. You just memorize it, and I think it's practice makes perfect.
If I'm not mistaken, for people that are interested in looking Miss Debell up, when she mentioned a soap opera, I know there's some soap opera fans out there. If I'm not mistaken, it was Young and the Restless, correct?
Yes, The Young and the Restless. And what's interesting is it was also in the 80s, because I have a William Bell gave everybody a bell. The date on it is 1982, I think, or 3. But it's fallen down to the bottom of my, because I guess it becomes archived. And it's like, Jesus, can't you just leave it with the date that it was? It's like archived. I had to ask that question. It's so silly. Now it looks like some people that don't know or don't research, they're like, oh, so you started on a soap? It's like, no. No, I didn't start on a soap.
Well,
you wouldn't do that because you know.
Well, the thing is that I think soap opera actors deal with a lot of things that I think as I stated, I used to be an independent professional wrestler. For many, many years, and one of the things I always dealt with as a wrestler was the stigma that wrestling is fake. That people slam all the time.
But there are two kinds. Like, my son is a huge wrestling fan. One of my boys, two of them actually.
Right.
But there is the WWE, and then there's the right. I mean, there's two. There's real wrestling, and then there's the what's the guy's name who's now the mayor of.
Oh yeah, Kane.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I was going to go with is that I know soap operas have a very similar stigma. Obviously, not about being real or fake, but I mean, a lot of operas, especially during the 70s and 80s, were, I don't want to say hammy, but people over delivered their lines sometimes.
Yes.
I know that held a stigma. So when I got to imagine a lot of soap opera actors and actresses who may have moved on beyond soap operas, or people like Susan Lucci, who spent pretty much her whole career in soap operas. They must deal with that all the time.
A lot of actors got their start in soap.
But I mean, I imagine they all had to deal with that stigma. It's like, well, can you really act though? Because I mean, you kind of chewed the scenes here. Type deal.
Well, I don't think I mean, as an actor, I don't think. I mean, that plays a role when you're auditioning. It's like, actors do. They go on soaps and they do their job. Then they go to a film and do their job, and then they go. It's just about auditioning and characters and who plays that character best, right?
Right. Well,
I don't see. I guess because I've been in the business, I kind of don't see it as a stigma. except for possibly, like you said, DeLucci just stays and doesn't ever. She becomes. She's on soap so long that she just does Lifetime on her break or something. A Lifetime movie maybe.
Right.
But for a lot of actors, it's a way to start out, or it's you're on there a few times, or you have a reoccurring role, but you do other things as well. And then that stigma doesn't exist.
And understand, to the listeners, understand, I'm not picking on soap operas. I can hear my soap opera fans now. Dude, he's picking on it, saying they're overacted. And no, I'm not. I'm literally not. I was actually there was a question involved with it. Was that did you ever deal with the stigma of moving beyond soap operas where people are like, but
No, and I just answered that question, and I don't think it's overacting. It's the writing. It's not the actors. The actors are terrific actors, but sometimes the writing is sort of very melodramatic. Let's say, right? Is that the word you use? Yeah, but it's like, are you kidding me? They loved me. I could cry on cue. I just did a film with a friend, and the girl next to me, he says, well, can you guys cry in this scene? And so I just burst into tears, and she's like, how did you do that?
Nice.
I think about something sad. No, yeah. But, so I remember it was like I cried and it seemed like I cried for the entire 10 months. Funny.
Well, the big thing I got to ask now is, and I know this from having a conversation with you, again, for those that don't know, we were supposed to have Miss Debell on. You were actually supposed to be my 100th episode.
Oh, wow, I'm so sorry I screwed that up, didn't I?
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. It's no big deal at all. But the thing is that you were originally slated to be my 100th episode, and unfortunately she couldn't join us. She had time to spend with her grandchild. So basically leading to the question here is, I know you have family and all. Now, what do you do with yourself beyond that? Are you still within film and acting? The film and credits and all that I've looked up don't go beyond 2017.
Well, no. You have to go to IMDb.
I usually do go to IMDb, but this.
No. I have some current stuff, and I have one that's still sort of one just came out, but not as much. It's not. It's very difficult coming back, right? People that stayed in, they work overtime, but I've told this story too. It's so funny. When I first came back, the business has changed so much, right? So you can submit yourself. I've had a few agents, and I have an agent. But anyway, but in the beginning, I'm submitting myself, and I submit myself for this role. I'm like, oh, I'm so perfect for this role. And I hear back right away, are you available? And I'm like, yes, I'm available to read. And he goes, read? I know who you are. Can I send you the script? Well, that was David Cotto, and we did 5 or 6 talking animal movies together.
Okay.
And one horror, 2 horrors. So, where was I going with that? I think I lost my train of thought. So the question was about, so I have done some recent stuff, yes, but, I don't have anything really slated now.
Okay. No, it was that was part of the question was, is there anything you're currently working on, and was there any plans of future things, maybe going back to the theater?
You know what? Not now. It's like I'm just sort of stuck in enjoying my grandkids, and I'm sort of working also a little bit with an environmental nonprofit, which is something that I care about a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. So, not really. I could see myself. I would love to go do a little theater. Actually, a friend of mine who's done some theater. I don't know. I just feel like I'm taking a little break right now. And I don't know why, but I am. And then I'll put myself back out there at some point. And in what capacity, I'm not sure. Whether I'll do a little stage or... I have some friends. A friend of mine, oh my gosh, see, you can't tell a story then you're going to say the person's name, and then you can't think of it. Well, anyway, a friend of mine wrote Drugstore Cowboy, and he's still writing. And we're both sci-fi berserk for sci-fi. So I asked him if he'd seen Paul. He's like, no. I said, dude, you have to see Paul. It's fabulous. But anyway, so we're talking about doing a project together at some point.
Oh, nice. And you said with being a sci-fi fan, of course, I've got to ask, have you seen the new Star Wars film, The Rise of Skywalker?
Oh, yes, and it was so much better than the previous. Okay, but it's still, I guess I don't mind that it has the little Disney stuff going on now.
Right.
With it. My son number 4 hated it. He's like, it's trash. But I'm not so critical of things. I'm a Marvel, probably because I have 4 boys, but I'm a Marvel maniac too. And it's like, people can say, oh, the best was this, oh, that was terrible, it is. But the thing for me is that if I kind of enjoyed watching, I'm not that critical. I mean, I know it's not, some fabulous film like the ones that have been, it isn't. However, some Marvel has been. But the previous one was pretty bad.
Well, I didn't mind. I didn't mind the previous one either. I'll admit that this one took a couple viewings to grow on me, and I think it's because I was saying goodbye to the galaxy that I just grew up with my whole entire life. I mean, I'm as old as the franchise, So I was 5 months old when the first film released, and I've been in the theater, my butt in the theater opening night for every movie since. You know what I mean? So
I know. Yeah, is it crazy? I went to the opening at the Cinerama Dome. They had a 10 o'clock show or 10 a.m. show, and I'm there by myself.
Nice.
Opening day, 10 a.m. Yeah, for the very first. Yeah, no, it's definitely, and I love John Williams, right? So I recently went to this past summer I went to to see John Williams and at the bowl, and everybody had their lightsabers, but he has so much other great music. It's like, what? We're not going to get to Jurassic Park or, the BFG said, but whatever. No, the Star Wars. I mean, it's just there's a huge fan base for the music, for the the story, for the actors, everything.
John Williams is definitely a gift to the world, but obviously Disney and Lucasfilm intend to make Star Wars till the cash cow runs out. Yeah, I mean yeah,
but wait a minute. You know what they say? Oh, I don't mean to interrupt, but have you seen The Mandalorian? I love that.
Oh yes, I have, and that's kind of it's almost kind of going where I was going to go with my next question. With you being a sci-fi fan and a Star Wars fan, and with Disney pretty much never stopping on Star Wars, you see yourself when you come out of your break, maybe trying out for season 2 of The Mandalorian, or maybe an upcoming movie.
Well, the problem is that once again I have no control over that, right? I mean, as an actor. For the most part, I mean, you have an agent and, they submit for things. And if you look like the character they're looking for, however, and then you audition with, 800 other people, possibly, depending. And then, you can't be bothered by it because it's like sometimes they have an idea of what they want. And if you are that idea, then you get the part. Unless, of course, once in a while, you're just so effing amazing that you change their idea. So,
right.
I mean, we've heard of that happening, right? So, yeah.
I
would kill. Are you kidding? But I'm going to get to do a sci-fi one, hopefully, anyway, with my friend.
That's true. That is true. Well, one of the final things I definitely want to ask about, and this wasn't originally in my itinerary, but you did bring it up, so I've got to ask. And actually, it's going to be a 2-part question. Part number 1 will be a very simple part, is that your environmental nonprofit. If there's any information that you have that you would like shared, please make sure you text it or email it to me, so that way I make sure it's in the description in this video down and all down below for people to be able to help the cause or get information on the cause. In any way, shape, or form. I would love to promote that for you, but I definitely want to ask about the environmental nonprofit. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
Well, it's basically the nonprofit is called Global Possibilities, and the woman and the website, which I helped build actually, is globalpossibilities.org, and it's really, it came out of knowing the woman who started the whole thing. She actually started the Oceans campaign with her ex-husband that became Oceana. I'm talking about Casey Danson, Ted Danson's ex.
Okay.
And then she, was an environmental designer and knew that the climate change, the problem, one of the huge things about climate change was the built environment. So she made an environmental film, which was in the editing room when An Inconvenient Truth came out. So it didn't do, it ended up sort of going to schools and not having. So we're actually right now redoing it, at the editing and updating some of the footage and to get it out there. And she may end up putting it out for free, but the film will be called Global Possibilities.
All right.
And,
I'm typing that down now. POITIES.org, you said, correct? ORG. And it's all one word, no spaces or underscore or anything between global and possibilities?
No.
Okay.
No. It's one, well, that's the website, globalpossibilities.org, and then the film will be Global Possibilities. No, hold on. No, hold on. The film has a different title. And
okay.
I don't know if the title's going to change, but the original title was Who's Got the Power.
What was it? I'm sorry, you kind of broke up a little bit.
But and it may stay the same, Who's Got the Power.
Who's Got the Power? Okay.
Yeah, Who's Got the Power.
Well, excellent.
But unfortunately, right now, if you Google that, it doesn't. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, guys,
basically, when we met, Casey and I, she said, hey, I've got, we should do something together. And I said, well, what should we do? Because she said my nonprofit's kind of been on the shelf for the past 10 years. And I said, well, what we can do is do a website and educate the public about, environmental issues, political, health, all sorts of stuff. So there you go.
Well, guys, if that's something that definitely catches your interest, make sure you hit the description down below. Audio podcast versions of the podcast, just go to the description itself. But YouTube, down below in the description, will be a link to globalpossibilities.org. Go ahead and click that and get all the information. I want to make sure you guys do check that out. Give them a couple hits, and I don't know if there's a discussion area or anything, but let them know that Realm of the Mist and Breaking the Fourth Wall sent you here. Let them know that we kind of helped give them a voice in some way, shape, or form. In some small way, all 5 of you.
And I thank every one of you.
Kristine,
all 5.
This has been an absolute blast. And one thing I will say, as I always say to everybody, you are more than welcome to come back. I would love to hear from you again. Definitely spend some more time.
Chris, that would be great. Yeah, absolutely. And then I would just do a little shout out to my social media, which is all at Kristine Debell, right? I'm on Facebook. My fan page is just Kristine Debell, and then I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Kristine Debell. Oh, and then of course my own website, KristineDebell.com, where you can actually order photos if you'd like. So there's you go to the shop and any film, you can order a photo, a signed photo from one.
Don't tell me that. I'm already pulling my credit card out. Like you said, that was KristineDebell.com, correct?
Yep.
All right. So, guys, if you want an autographed 8x10 or maybe, I don't know, coffee mug, go over to Chris.
Yeah, no coffee mug. No mugs.
Aw. All right, guys. That's definitely go hit up her fan page pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And, of course, guys, here for Breaking the Fourth Wall. Thank you for checking out this video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other great podcasts of Realm of the Mist Entertainment. And, of course, our sister channel, Sounds Dicey Gaming, for all your tabletop Dungeons & Dragons and video game Let's Play needs. And, of course, if you're a person who prefers the audio version of the podcast, you can find Realm of the Mist Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or wherever quality podcasts can be heard. Kristine, again, thank you so much. This has been an honor, and I'm telling you right now, that little 8-year-old boy is jumping up and down in the living room right now.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for having me on. It was fun.
It was an absolute blast. Thank you again. And, guys, I will catch you on the next Breaking the Fourth Wall.